everybody, it's Irene again in the greenhouse with BrainStormAcres. And this afternoon I finished a bunch of stuff in here and I came back a couple of hours later. You can hear the wind out there. I'm sure I look thoroughly windblown. And I was doing another watering because when I've just transplanted things, that's what I like to do, is I like to come by a couple of times during the day and water again. And I was checking out some things. I was checking out the fact that I've ordered more of the saucers, but I don't really want to order more of the containers. And I know that soon some of the containers will be empty, but they're not now. So I'm sort of stuck in the between right now. And I was thinking about the fact that I have a couple of buckets over here that have peppers that I'm overwintering, and one set of peppers, they're not going to make it, but the other set are. And I was thinking about the fact, see, I got lots of things going on in there at the same time, that I have a couple more buckets in the yard, that the Brussels sprouts, honestly, I don't think they're going to make it. They really got eaten badly by rodents, and I'm just not sure it's worth keeping them. And I mentioned that to Henry at lunch. He said, no, I would just ditch them. And when I came out here and I started doing stuff here, I realized I have some containers that were a gift from friends. Duh. And of course, I very carefully stashed them over in the corner here, right where containers like that are supposed to be. But then I totally, no hair movement, forgot about them. I mean, they're right there. I just wasn't seeing them, you know. That I put this away carefully concept, and then you never find it. So I found them. And I've already transplanted the remainder of my seedlings into these two. And they've had their first watering. And now I'm going to use the next three that I have. And I'm going to plant some of the potatoes that I've been wanting to plant. We have potatoes in the kitchen that we grew last year. They've started to sprout. And to be honest, I don't want to buy potato seeds this year. There's nothing wrong with them. They'll make perfectly good potato seeds. There are specific varieties that we want to grow, so it only makes sense to do this. So these guys here, the Atlantis, have been planted in there. I have 6 seedlings left. 6. And I was like, I don't have any more pots. I'm going to have to juggle things. I don't want to cut up any more things. I don't, that sort of thing. I won't say I was feeling sorry for myself, but I was thinking about the dental bill I'm going to have tomorrow. So I was not in a hurry to go out and spend yet more money. And I thought, wait a minute. And I started looking through the pots, and there they were. And because I was thinking I'm going to get some of these, I mentioned it early, we have a bunch of these free buckets that we get from Safeway and a couple of other big box stores for the bakeries. But why drill holes in buckets if you already have containers? So that's what I'm going to do now. I am going to plant some potatoes in buckets. I'll show you one, and then I'll just do the other two because I'm going to do them the same way. I've got a pot in here, and it's got, about 6 inches of fresh potting soil in here. I'm going to take a handful of my slow release organic from Haas. I'm going to put it in there. And then I'm going to get some of my seed potatoes. In this case, I have saved some Adirondack Blues. And I'm going to plant these in here. I'm going to plant one at 3 o'clock and one at 9 o'clock. And then I'm going to take some soil and I'm going to push it down gently, and I'm going to plant one at 12 o'clock and one at 6 o'clock. And then I'm going to repeat with soil. Now these all had good sprouts on them to start with. And I'm going to put some more fertilizer in here. And I'm going to put just about another inch on top because I want to cover everybody completely. And I'm going to mark it Adirondack Blue and the date on which it's been planted. I'm going to stick it over in the corner here. And I'm going to cover it with the same covers that I have going on over here, because let me show you what's happened over here. So earlier this year, we thought it would be a good idea to try and preserve some peppers over the winter. And unfortunately, one bucket of the peppers got buried in the back and sort of froze. However, the other bucket of peppers didn't get completely buried in the back. And as you can see, some of them are doing okay. Now, this is not a pepper. This is a potato. So there must have been a teeny piece of potato in there, or potato root left over from when we were growing potatoes in this bucket at some point. And yeah, we have potatoes. So I have no idea what color these will be, but we obviously have 2 potato plants in there. So I am going to basically smush this back in the corner here. I'm going to finish fixing up this guy with a little bit more dirt, water him good, and I'll be watering him for a couple of days, but I'm going to smush him back in the corner with these guys. And we're just going to leave him here completely covered, and we're going to see how this goes, because why not? Worst thing, it doesn't work. Best thing, it works. Done. Very cool. I am excited. It may sound silly to some people, but I've been wanting to get some things done for a while, and realizing that I actually had some extra pots today was like Christmas. So yeah, I've got a set of 15 saucers coming. I forget whether it's this week or next. And that'll solve my water runoff problem here some. And it's going to be awesome, because what I'm going to do is I'm just going to keep some of this stuff, the stuff with potatoes in it, I'm going to keep covered all the time. And the stuff that's got an assortment of other things in it will only be covered at night. But to start with, I'm going to cover everybody now, because it's getting to be that time of day. And you get to see what I actually do. It's not brain surgery. But yeah, it makes a huge difference in terms of keeping things happy. It keeps the heat in, which is the whole point. So let me get that started here. I'm going to start down here, I think. And this doesn't have to be perfect. All I'm doing is trying to keep it just a smidge warmer than it would be if it was laying there uncovered. And it makes a big difference to the plants. Just a little stress less than there would have been before. And every time you get a little less stress, your plants are just a little bit happier. So this is not going to be a perfect cover. It's not going to be anything fancy. But this is making us get a little bit faster growth now, and I've had less damage since I've been doing this, which is good. I mean, it's that time of year when you expect some, but still trying to minimize the amount of damage you get. And these are old, pre-used things, so I don't expect everything to be perfect. But let's see. Switch up. Since I'm switching things around now, I have to figure out which location things are going to go into. Like this is a bigger one, so it can go and cover this whole section here, including the ones I put down here, because anything that's been newly transplanted, I try and cover for at least a couple of nights just to kind of give them some protection, because they have been in a warmer environment. The things that have been covered have had heat from the heat mats. Got a seed in here we don't need. So anything that's got heat mat seeds in it, I mean heat mat seeds, yes, that makes sense. Heat mat exposure, I'd like to give them a little extra. Now these have not had heat mats, but they have really nice heads of broccoli forming on them right now. So I'm just going to cover them to give them a little bit more protection. I don't think it's supposed to get down super cold tonight, but our predictions have been very flaky lately, so I don't worry about, let's see, I'm going to, it's easier to work with pieces that are split if they're actually separate pieces than if they're sort of semi-attached to one another. So, and this is no different than in the old days. Some places they would use old blankets and stuff. I have done this with old blankets in a pinch. Obviously, if you're using something heavy like a blanket, you need to provide some support so you don't crush the plants. But yeah, I'm not going to worry about doing super heavy covers on this section here. It's just going to be like one light layer. But I figure every little bit helps. I actually miscounted. I had to take those back in the house. One of the things you'll see me do, if you watch all the way to the end, is I always close up the fertilizer, roll it down, and put a clip on it, because I don't want water dripping off the roof and getting in there. It won't wreck the fertilizer, but it makes a mess, and I'm trying to avoid all the messes I can. So, let's see what we have here. Oh, this is a little piece. I'm going to put an extra little piece over the side here. I don't think I have any need for, yeah. On these ones that don't get uncovered every night, like the peppers and stuff, I will leave them on during the day, and I'll put more layers. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get up against the wall here and pull the covers down. I really want them to be covered as much as possible, because this is colder over here. I think I'm going to have to harvest this guy pretty quick here. I'm hoping to have better solutions by next winter. I'm actually going to double cover the sections that have the peppers in them to get as much protection as I can. There we go. Woo! Sort of messy. That's okay. I can deal with sort of messy. All right. That's what I'm doing for tonight. I take it back. I'm going to take this off here and I put it on here, because this is relatively recently out of warmer situations. So we'll cover him up too. I forgot about him. That's why I always triple look around. Now over here tonight, there'll be a heater right here, far enough away so it won't catch anything on fire. But I'll check the temperature at bedtime to decide what temperature I'm going to turn the heater on to, whether I'm going to just turn it to its lowest or its medium setting. I do not use high in here at all. There we go. We're bundled up for the night. I know, it looks very silly, but it's okay. This is what we look like at night. I just closed up the tomatoes. There are no more seedlings over there. They've all been planted out. Everybody's covered up. And I am going to be back out here again about, somewhere between 8:30 and 10 o'clock, depending on the temperature. I'll be actively watching the thermometer on my watch and wall in there on the weather station, and I've got a thermometer over here, and we'll see how the temperature goes. And when it gets down probably in the 30s, I'll turn on the heater and let it run until morning. It's more money than we'd like to spend right now because propane is expensive, but if we're conscientious about turning it on and off, don't turn it on before you have to, turn it off before you have to, in the morning sort of thing. A tank is lasting us several days, so I think we'll just keep this up for now, and by next winter we're going to have some new solutions. So I'm not going to tell you what, because we won't know until it happens, but I have some good ideas, and we'll see what happens, because you never know until it happens. So be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, because obviously there's a ton more going on here. And to Deb and Bev, thank you very much for those pots. They have rescued my tin can. I didn't have to drill any holes in buckets. And I still have the giant ones. I just haven't decided what I'm going to plant in those. I decided that right now the slightly smaller ones were an easier fit in here because they're about the same diameter as my 10-gallon pots. And yeah, they're going to live here until spring. So hopefully in spring we'll just dig up the potatoes and move them somewhere else. So have a great day, guys. And keep on brainstorming. Bye.